John Musso had asked me to speak to you about competency restoration treatment primarily. So in order to do that, I made some handouts for us. And we're not going to do the whole thing, but last June, if you want to take one and pass it, I was asked by Victoria Gallegos and Danielle Whitehead to do a presentation to the Court Services Department on competency restoration treatment. And so I'm going to really telescope this hour-long discussion into just a few minutes, or at least I'll do my best to do that. All right. And as a way of starting, I want to talk about three basic themes, and one is the relationship between competency evaluation and restoration treatment. I also want to talk about hope, the role of hope. And then I want to talk about the importance of communication. So let's start off with the relationship between evaluation and treatment. And I'm going to just have you flip over to page 3. And the slides go from top to bottom and then over to the left. So what you have there in that first slide is a model, you could say, of the relative percentages of time and effort devoted to restoration treatment, depending on where individuals are in their competency restoration process. These are not exact percentages. I've noted that at the bottom there. So what you have is people coming into the hospital initially. Much of the time they're psychiatrically unstable. Most of the effort goes into getting them stabilized, while at the same time beginning their restoration treatment. And once they're a little better off, we move them directly into full-time restoration programming. And that's why there's that large red spot there. The other things are still going on: psychiatric stabilization, recovery in the fuller and broader sense, which goes beyond restoration to fuller life functioning and so forth. But the main focus is on restoration. And as they move farther along in this process, if they've still not been restored after a year or 2 years or 3 years, they're not likely to be restored. And they tend to move toward units that provide less restoration programming. We know from our own experience and from at least one study that, once you get past 3 years, it's very slim chances anybody's going to be restored to competency. It happens, but it's unusual. So one of the reasons that I am the one speaking to you is that I have worked as both a competency evaluator and as the psychology supervisor for the restoration units, even though I'm not doing that now. It's in my not too distant past. So that gives you a little overview of, sort of people's trajectory through here. In the unit that I'm on now, most of them are unlikely to be restored. The majority of the patients are now civil patients, and we're trying to place them in the community. So that's sort of the trajectory there of the treatment. Why do we say that they can't be restored? Well, the evaluators keep coming back and saying this person's competency deficits remain significant. So that's going to impact what we do with them treatment-wise. Earlier on in the process, there is a very dynamic, reciprocal interchange between evaluation and treatment, and you can see that in that next slide there. There's a real dialogue going on between the information the evaluators are providing about what they are perceiving as deficits in the individuals, and then our efforts as treatment teams to address those deficits. So it's a back and forth process. a dialectic, if you will, one informing the other. Down below that, in the presentation to the court services folks, I gave some very specific examples of patients. I'm not going to get into that today. We do not have the time. As we approach the end of my time, will I hear the Jeopardy theme song? Or
I'll give you the good morning.
Okay.
About 2 minutes left.
All right. So that's the interplay between treatment and evaluation. I want to mention a little bit about hope. You see that figure there? Are you all acquainted with Mr. or Ms. Sisyphus?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody around this table who never has the experience of being Sisyphus? We all do. We roll the boulder up and it rolls back down, and we just roll it up right again. That is often an experience that patients have. They do their best to pass these evaluations. They don't make it. So now we do another 90 days. A lot of frustration for the patients with that. There's also a lot of frustration with the staff working with the patients, especially those who have been here a long time. And I don't mean just a year, but 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. It gets really difficult for the patient and then, of course, the staff. And one of the major roles the staff have at that point is really not competency restoration. It's helping them sustain hope for their lives and eventually moving to some other place in their life. And hope is just critical for our patients, and I would say for our staff, because we have so many who are here so long. And then there's others who get competent, go back to jail, then become incompetent again and come back, or they go out to the community and a year or two later, well, they're back again. So, it's like rolling the boulder up the hill. Down below that, I have a couple of notes on what are the building blocks of hope. This is my take on what hope is, the basic elements here of social connection, a sense of effectiveness and agency in one's life, and sense that one's life has a purpose and a meaning to it. So treatment here is not simply putting information inside people's heads so they can repeat it during an evaluation. It's much bigger than that.
Give about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So turn over to the last page, and that has to do with communication. And again, with court services now being outside of the hospital, basically still under OBH, we've had I would say the communication has decreased over time between treatment teams and evaluators, and we're still working through that issue. Not sure where that's going, but just to point out, competency evaluation used to be a couple cars going down the lane. Now it is the 405 out in LA, the traffic that's going on. And the need for communication has just increased exponentially. The need has, I don't know that the process has, but the need has. So there's so many moving pieces with all this. I know we're at time. You can look at the last page on your phone. You might need it at the end of the day. Any questions, comments?
No, thank you for the overview and the educational.
Well, thank you for making all of this possible. I think this really hits at that last point, and the importance of communication at and among all different levels. And I think it does foster a sense of hope as well. Mm-hmm. So thank you all. I wish you the best with this process. I look forward to hearing more about it. All right.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Thank you.